A year ago, we gathered for the first Free Press Policy Summit, and we made a strong case for why and how the policies shaping the future of high-speed internet access and media content are linked. We argued that to foster better journalism, better education, and a more informed and enlightened citizenry, we must stop America's decline in broadband internet access speed, affordability, and adoption. We showed how failed policymaking has created many of our current problems and how smart policymaking is central to long-term solutions. I trust you all read that book cover to cover. We'll be quizzing you later. A lot has happened, though, in the past year. As Craig mentioned, newspapers lost thousands of jobs, ad revenue plummeted across most of commercial media, bad business practices are partly to blame, but the biggest culprit is the divorce of advertising revenue and news production that has been brought by a web that is transforming the economics of news. You all know that. And that today we face a stark reality. More and more communities have few to no reporters acting as their eyes and ears. It really is a crisis. We don't have anyone in many communities holding those in power accountable. The good news, the problem is so severe that finally we've seen a major increase in awareness here in Washington that there is a crisis and that issues like net neutrality, universal broadband, a reinvigorated public media that Alberto referred to, and other pro-journalism policies are critical parts of the solution. Commercial innovation will surely play a major role in solving the crisis, but like the challenges facing broadband adoption, it will require changes in policy if we hope to foster media content that sustains democracy in the future. As Representative Henry Waxman said last December, eventually government is going to have to be responsible to help and resolve these issues. Indeed, government involvement in protecting and promoting a vibrant free press is nothing new. As most people in this room knows, it's gone back more than 200 years to the founding of this country. However, as we look at the role of policymaking today, I must confess I am amazed by the disingenuous and reckless industry-funded rhetoric that mythical free markets will somehow make everything right if government would just get out of the way. Now, Alberto's right. It's important that we keep this debate at a low and level tone. However, some of the rhetoric is so out of hand that it needs to be addressed because it's only going to get higher as we move for simple public interest policies like affordable universal broadband adoption. As the book we released at this event last year illustrated, it was that less government oversight viewpoint that led to America's global decline in broadband speed and adoption. It is that approach that put basic protections for internet users in jeopardy. It is that approach that has led to runaway media consolidation. And that approach is what led to shuttered bureaus and empty newsrooms and so much of the country left in the dark about what is happening in their own communities. But failed government oversight is not unique to media and technology. It is why 4 million gallons of crude oil is gushing into our waters as I speak. It is at the heart of the banking crisis and the mining tragedy in West Virginia. It's part of the problem with our election process that has turned our democracy into pay-to-play corruption, where those with the most money call the shots. Yet our media still consistently questions whether reasonable government oversight is even necessary. They treat regulation like some dangerous affliction while too often failing to expose corruption. The truth is, free markets often don't work without some sort of government involvement to establish the rules of the road. This is especially true in markets like broadcasting, cable, and internet access, where there are just a few companies offering access to communications. Indeed, net neutrality is a policy dedicated to protecting the free market on the internet, ensuring a level playing field against a cartel of internet providers. But in modern day Washington, in this Washington, facts have become irrelevant in the face of deep-pocketed industry-funded think tanks, PR shops, and mercenary political hit groups whose sole objective is to remove any and all reasonable government oversight that would protect consumers at the expense of corporate profits. Industry and their proxies ignore successful public media models around the world and claim that public funding of media is a socialist cabal. They falsely claim that competition and net neutrality rules will cause the sky to fall, investment will cease, and jobs will be lost, all without any real evidence. They claim net neutrality is a government takeover of the internet, when the opposite is true. It is about preventing internet providers from indiscriminately blocking or slowing content. It is about preventing censorship. And they ignore the breathtaking hypocrisy of their less government rhetoric as they lead armies of lobbyists to secure government tax breaks and subsidies worth millions. Lacking truth and reason, front groups have even started to make McCarthy-esque allegations against our organization, painting our efforts to protect consumers and promote critical journalism as part of a Marxist takeover of the internet. Many of you have seen it. Because nothing Free Press actually says or does remotely reflects their rhetoric, they recycle out-of-context quotes from one of our co-founders, or they draw up elaborate conspiracy theories. It is the province of liars and scoundrels. It is this kind of smear tactics and diversion from substance that disgusts and alienates Americans, both liberal and conservative, and allows misguided industry-backed policies to win the day and fail the nation. We must learn from our history. We must put to rest industry calls for blind abandonment of government oversight. We must remember the sobering moment in the middle of the financial meltdown when Alan Greenspan, the lion of the Federal Reserve, admitted that his view of the world, his lifelong resistance to government oversight, was wrong. Many industry lobbyists already know what Greenspan acknowledged. Too little government oversight hurts the public interest. But they loudly proclaim the contrary because, as they'll tell you here in Washington over a few drinks, hey, I gotta make a good living, you know. It took Greenspan 40 years to wake up. Our nation cannot wait another 40 years to wake up. Our media cannot wait another 40 years to wake up. We cannot wait until things reach disastrous proportions to realize that they are wrong. We must look at the facts and ourselves and summon the courage to advance the policies that will make our communication system, our economy, our information society, and our democracy work for everyone, not just the largest firms. This is not about the interests of the left or the interests of the right. This is about the public interest. Today, you'll hear from an august group of speakers discussing common sense approaches to get universal, affordable, fast, uncensored internet to every home and business in America. We'll explore how to foster independent, accountable, and diverse media and journalism. There are policies required to meet the needs of our modern, participatory, connected nation. And we must not, indeed we cannot, fail to meet this challenge. As President Obama said at his inauguration, it is not about big government or small government, it's about government that works for people. That, after all, is why we're here today, and I welcome you. Thank you.